and welcome to another episode of Star Mountain Outdoors and Bushcraft. I'm John, I'm your host, and this is Nathan. He will be your co-host for the day.
Hello.
And we're on a day hike in late December, actually right before the new year, and we're at 10,000 feet and there's no snow. I can't believe this is the driest year that I've ever seen up here. Anyway, our topic for today's day hike will be Bushcraft Ethics. Come join us. Hi folks, I'm on a day hike on the Nordic Ski Trail in the Santa Fe National Forest, Espanola Ranger District, and I'm talking today with you about Bushcraft Ethics. And what brought this on was a recent news story on KOB 4 Eyewitness News in Albuquerque that talked about mysterious structures being built on Forest Service land on the Santa Fe National Forest. And one like this right here. The story went on to say that these structures are dangerous, they can fall on people, they are a fire hazard because there's been signs of fires being built within them and that sort of thing. And that it's illegal. It's against the law and it can be a $5,000 fine. And I just wanted to go over the rules of the National Forest with you folks and maybe the proper way to practice bushcraft on public lands. So that's my focus of today's episode. Okay folks, here I have a Pecos Wilderness map from this is a publication from the U.S. Forest Service, and it has the regulations for wilderness right on the map. And here's what it says. Camping. Groups in the Pecos Wilderness may not exceed 15 people and 15 head of stock. No camping is allowed 50 feet of any trail system, stream, or river. Camping and campfires are also prohibited within 200 feet of any lake. Camping and campfires are prohibited in the following areas, blah blah blah. Campsites may not be used by more than 14 for more than 14 consecutive days. And disposing of garbage, debris, other waste is prohibited. All garbage must be packed out, of course. No shortcutting no shortcutting of a trail switchback is allowed. Of course, no ATVs, motorcycles, snowmobiles, bicycles, carts, or mechanized vehicles are allowed. Resources. Cutting live or dead standing trees for any purpose is prohibited. So you must use dead or down material, in other words. And it goes about commercial guides, pack animal considerations, something that I don't worry about because I don't use them. Winter travel, grazing, bears. There was an area, leave no trace. Plan ahead, prepare, travel and camp on durable surfaces. Leave what you find. minimize campfire impacts. That's one thing I wanted to talk to you about. It says, campfires are one of the larger impacts on wilderness and can be easily avoided using camp stove for cooking. You know, with bushcrafting, a lot of it is about the fire. Everybody wants a nice campfire. They're not prohibited, you just have to use them wisely. Or use a camp stove in high fire conditions. A lot of times there are certain fire restrictions in the forest, so always check before you're camping, particularly here in the southwest in the early summertime. So let's see, use a candle or lantern instead of a fire. If you intend to have a fire, do not build a fire ring of rocks. Use a fire pan or build a mound fire. Okay, this is a suggestion. It's actually not one of the regulations. Here are the regulations. Here are the campfire suggestions. So it's not a law that you can't use a fire ring. I like to use a fire ring, but I also dispose of the rocks and that sort of thing and scramble everything if I create a new fire ring. A fire pit is another alternative. Remove the sod carefully and replace it when done. That's actually a pretty good no trace ethic to use. Keep fire small. Burn only dead wood no bigger around than your thumb. Gather only from the ground and wide area. Burn only wood that's big around as your thumb. Again, this is just a suggestion. I like a little bigger fire than that. And it's not against the law. Again, this is just a suggestion. I mean, my thumb's pretty small. It's a pretty small piece of wood. It wouldn't burn very long. I like a long-lasting fire that you don't have to tend to very much. So, anyway, basically they don't want rocks blackened. They don't want, you know, you want to leave no trace. You don't want your impacts to be seen by the next person. You want to keep things, the word I like to use is pristine. So, I'll be talking about ways to do that. And this right here, this is precisely what that news article was talking about. And according to the wilderness regulations, it is right next to the trail. It is not 50 feet from the trail. You want to camp more than 50 feet from the trail or streams and 200 feet from lakes. So I can see that this is illegal. And plus, is this leave no trace? No, you can definitely see somebody's been here. So, yeah, it's kind of a sad thing. And it's a $5,000 fine if caught building a structure like this. So that puts people who use no trace ethics, who want to build a little shelter like this and sleep in it for a night, it puts their enjoyment of the outdoors in jeopardy because this was not taken down. So maybe I'll do some of my good volunteer work today and take this shelter down. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so there you have it. We took it down and we left the ridgepoles up because they're frozen in the ground right now, and this one was actually there, as we can see. See this mound of dirt right here? It actually fell over that other stump, but this one's frozen in the ground and I couldn't move it, so that's the best we can do for now. But again, let's be ethical, leave no trace.
about 40 degrees, more like 30, but it's a bit warm for winter.
As you can see, we're traveling through a very pretty stand of aspen. Alright, it at least looks a little like winter here. Alright, here's a campfire pit next to the trail right here. Of course, we're not in the wilderness right now, technically, so maybe wilderness regulations don't apply, but still, you don't want to camp right next to the trail. That just spoils the pristine feel for the next people who come along. This wiki-up somebody built is huge, and there's two other little shelters that have been built here too. Now I see why the Forest Service is complaining about this, and this is making bushcrafters look bad. Please use ethics. Hey Nate, my assistant. If you could you walk up to that bigger shelter there and show people what kind of scale we're looking at?
Yes, sir.
That's why that the Forest Service is saying that these structures are dangerous. If something like that falls, that could really hurt somebody. Nathan, I wouldn't even stand there too long if I were you. Alright, I guess now it's time for lunch. We've made our point. Look what we found just sitting here. A metal detector. Cool, I've always wanted a metal detector. I guess I can post it on my website, and if anybody claims it, they can have it back. I can find a way to get it to them if they live here locally, or they can pay for shipping. And if nobody finds it, I guess I can keep it. Alright folks, we decided to stop for our trail lunch, and we're cooking up some sausages fresh from the butcher. And the two ones on the far side are green chili, and the closest one is sweet Italian. And we're going to give these a try this afternoon. Alright folks, we're ready to eat now. Delicious sausage. I've already tried mine. It's really good.
I can't yet. Mine's too hot.
Too hot for him. But, oh man, good. Thumbs up for the green chili. And I shouldn't talk with food in my mouth.
Smells good.
Okay, so we found a bench with a view where we can eat our sausages. So good. How's the sweet Italian?
It's really good.
And I'd like to show you the view. It's a little hazy, but it's beautiful. Alright folks, we saw some examples of some bushcraft shelters that other people have built on Forest Service land here. We'll use those as examples of what not to do, particularly because it's not leave no trace ethics. I think that's the bottom line. They're a hazard for people. They're a fire hazard. You know, there's a lot of different things wrong with them. They're built next to trails, in scenic areas, near picnic areas. You know, please respect the forest and respect others that need to use it too. And anyway, that's my conclusion. This is John with Star Mountain Outdoors and Bushcraft with Nathan. Have a good one.
And out.